Okay, we are live today. Hey, I'm excited. It's actual real deep converse, and I'm super excited to be in the building today. My girls are here. Okay, my name is Praise Forward, and I have in the studio.
My name is Adiola Kingsley Jane.
Okay, Diola is here. She just stepped into the studio, and she's trying to make herself. She's trying to deceive people. Oh, yeah, been a day. Well, yeah. Traffic has been something else these days.
Going to the island.
I don't
It's like going to one see Godo.
No, I was trying to. I was meant to go for a meeting in Ajah yesterday.
Oh.
My team had to stop me to say, "Hey, let's do it online." So we had to do a Zoom meeting, and it was very good. Why do you need to drive all the way? Saturday that I went to the island, it was. In fact, I almost blamed myself. The session was a 15-minute session.
Oh my
right?
goodness! And you spent 3 hours going and 4 hours coming
I'm
back.
telling you. So I was like, why wouldn't I just join them? They should have just made it possible for me to join via Zoom or something. It's
ridiculous.
I don't know what's going on in Lagos,
Ridiculous.
but we are grateful.
Yes,
We're grateful for everything,
we
and
appreciate everything that is happening.
yeah. So we are here today, and our chief moderator is taking a seat. In the conventional setup, if this was a show, your producer would have been on your neck with strong face. Life is not too serious.
I'm the producer.
People just need to let their hairs down.
I'm the producer. So y'all has shown right.
Oh yeah.
Hi guys, hi everybody. Sorry, yo man. Traffic, yo. It's crazy. Sorry. Anyway. I can't say that I know the feeling because I don't. Whatever. I can only say I'm sorry. Whatever. Hi Grace, thanks for joining in. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you everyone on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
So we didn't put out a post this week to say, join us live on Thursday as usual.
Well, I did put out a post.
You did?
I did.
Okay, cool. Well, I didn't. I didn't. But I'm sorry if you didn't see. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining in. So yeah, there's music playing from somewhere. Sorry. Okay, so why don't you just kick it off whilst I catch my breath? Yeah. So thank you all for joining us today. Once again, I'm Adiola, and we have Praise here and Buki. In the last couple of weeks, last week we celebrated 4 weeks.
A month.
A month. Yes. Yeah. So we're now our baby is almost getting off the breast, and are not suckling their mother's breast anymore. And it was like yesterday when it just couldn't start, and now we're here 5 weeks down. We started talking about abuse and abuse in mental abuse.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks we've talked about it. Today we're talking about getting your sexy back, and snatching your power back. It will mean different things for different people. However,
depending on your situation.
Yeah, depending on your situation and what I cut across everybody, because my situation is different from other people's situations and what any of us here would say really. So maybe take what you need out of what we're saying and then apply it to yourself. Don't take what we say or has happened to us as verbatim. Take what you need that is of merit or relatable to you and use it in your situation. And I'm sure, guaranteed, you'll be happy again. And so today, what are we talking about?
I think you've already said it. Taking your power back. We kind of started on that, last week, but we didn't get into it. So today we want to get into, taking your power back. In fact, I didn't put up the post. But anyway, dealing with the quick. Yes.
So
I mean,
tell us where we're starting from. But then,
Well, I mean,
what are the steps?
the first step in it is to first of all know that there is a problem.
yeah, and that's the most difficult part.
And you know, a friend of mine said to me, I think it was yesterday, that not everybody knows that they're being abused. So how do you even know that you should even start looking for help or looking for how to recover from the abuse? So
Yeah, because the abuser could be an abusive, I mean, a lover,
Yeah.
in quote, someone you love so much. Many a time. Or the most potent abuser is a guy. It was
abuser.
You know, like can touch also if your most love language was touch, for example, he is a touchist. You know what I mean? If it's quality time, he would literally almost kill you with time, but he's still abusing you.
Well, it's
But what kind of abuse though? Because like we're dealing with all kinds, but we're dealing with different kinds of abuse. So there is the domestic, there is the physical violence, there is sexual abuse. I'm the guy may be somebody who, when you look back maybe in their past, their own they were taking advantage of maybe when they were young, or sex was forced on them at some point. And so that's how they relate with getting their pleasure, which is having forceful sex. But the guy loves you, he loves everything about you, right? He gives you the attention, he touches your spots, he knows how to
Knows
shower
your
you with
mumu button.
he
How
has
do
your
you
mumu-
leave such a person?
It's tough.
It's
Trust
really
me,
tough.
it's tough
It's
because
we can't just say this is how you should do it and then go ahead.
you may
and
not
do it,
even
because
know. You may not even know it's an
situations
abuse,
like these.
and what we tend to do is to compare, to say, because even if you go out to say, I mean, the guy is abusing you, to say, okay, so they'll ask you what exactly does it do? You say it gets to forceful sex with you. They'll ask you, what's the relationship? Is your husband? Does he beat you? You say no. Does it deprive you of money? You say no. Does it? People even tell you your case is better.
So what really is your problem?
They will now release their own. Say, he has not slapped you. My own is even slapping me. And say, oh, madam, I beg, you get. So it becomes very tough. And there are people who are smooth as that. They can talk you out of anything. They're abusing you, but they can talk you out of anything.
Yeah.
When by the time he breaks down, start to cry. It could be physical abuse. He beats you, then he breaks down. This is my weakness. And you look at it and say,
Really?
well, he's trying.
Because there's a cycle. There's
Yeah.
a cycle of abuse.
Hmm.
There's a cycle. There is the moments where everything is calm. There is a moment where everything is calm, and then tension builds. Then the abuse happens. Then the apology comes, and then it's now a moment of calm again.
Yeah, then you
and
repeat
those
yourself.
and it just keeps on repeating itself over and over and
And
over.
you know
again.
that like addiction, abuse also thrives in secrecy. The fact that, hey, you make excuses and you don't report, you don't speak up, and so as long as you look at the reputation of the abuser, to say, hey, I mean, if I do this, who will believe? Take for instance, if you're a public figure and you're you're being beaten by your husband, your husband is also a public figure. You are looking at the paraphernalia of office that you're in. Take the first lady of a state, for example. To say, what if he loses his place as the governor, you lose your place as the first lady, you know. So you,
Shame,
yeah, the
and all
shame
that.
and what abuse, you know. But abuse is what it is, right? If you don't speak up, you may, you know, die in there without anyone knowing. But like we touched on a very important aspect of it, people even knowing that they are being abused,
It's
because
the main thing.
in Africa, where you're perpetually abused,
Yes.
right? A lot of abusers are positioned as saviors, right? And when in your bid to, you know, even tell them that you are being abused, you know, take for instance, it was in this country that some guy burnt his church members, you know, Dr. King or something like that, right? Yeah, you didn't,
Some years back.
some years
I
back,
remember.
every time the guy passed, you and you know, praise him, he will slap them, any of them. That this was abuse, they will tell you, but
It's
Jesus,
God.
Jesus went into the temple
I'm broken.
and beat people out. You know, people will and create a narrative that keeps people bound, and that you can, even if you try to liberate people, they will stone. I mean, we all know settings in this country that if you go back there to say you are being abused, they will almost slap or kill you. To say, I beg, you are the devil that wants to, you know. So again, we need to reiterate the fact that you cannot help someone who has not identified that the person is being abused.
Right.
If to tell some people that you are being abused, you go to the village right now, you see a man with 3 wives, you know, and he gives them money. You're now telling the wives that your husband does not respect you, it's gender equality, and blah 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 blah. You will end up becoming the enemy because they will, you know. So what we say in therapy is, if they have not laid a complaint, just leave them alone. It's okay for them, right? And you need to understand that what is abuse to you may not be abuse to them, right? Like a lady who says the guy doesn't love her because he's not beating her, right? So how do you convince that person?
That is not
Until
normal.
they get to a level called threshold, you may not be able to do anything, you know. So you are not the savior of the world. So don't try to pretend as if you are the savior of the world, because I have tried, you know, to help in times past, and it's bounced back, right? Because people will now tell you which one is your own. What kind of question were you asking? You know, we didn't know that anything was wrong until, you know, then you now be like you are the enemy. Meanwhile, you're trying to help. So we need to understand that if it's not broken, don't fix it. And if someone has not come to you and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling comfortable, you know, with what is happening," just leave them, right? Like when we do, I mean, you have anyway. I think we celebrate. Your sister just graduated. She's an associate practitioner of family system engineering, right?
Yay!
So you will,
you can come to me for
yeah,
that
yeah.
now.
So
I got
you will know.
Come back to that.
You will know what we're talking about when we. So for example, we have what we call culture compatibility test. If you run that culture compatibility test and there's a question there, a man is superior to a woman, right? You either agree or disagree. The two of them agree. Don't try, right? It's you now begin. There's a problem when the husband says yes, the woman says no, right? Or is the duty of the man or the woman to cook for the family? If the two of them say they agree, they are fine, right? So the moment you now say no, that's not it, and there are women like that, there are men like that. So take them based on who they are, and don't choke on someone else's matter.
Don't choke on someone else's matter. But the thing is,
Oh gosh.
but where is the place of intervention?
What intervention?
You only interventioned when they come and
When
ask
they call
for
you.
it.
Don't give
No,
unsolicited.
but there are situations where, for instance, in instances of physical abuse,
Yes.
where the woman is being beaten and bashed and battered.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you a story. I had this friend, well, a friend of a friend a while ago, and apparently her husband used to beat her. It was so bad. She had 3 children for him. She had 2 boys and a girl. It was so bad that the children couldn't even go to school. The mother used to homeschool them. The husband didn't want her to even step out of the gate. She didn't go to the market. His mother or his sister used to go to the market for them when they needed to buy food in the house. And so the only person that he kind of eventually allowed to come to our house was this friend of mine. So we went to our house together to see the girl together. The didn't used to touch the female child because he used to say she'll end up a prostitute like their mother, right? This is a woman that doesn't out. So I went saw her. Eventually, my friend then found a way to get her out of that house and to her sister out of Lagos, and told her, "Don't come back to this man's house." She said, "Okay." She went there. She went back. She went to her sister's place. They smuggled her out of the house with the children, carried her to her sister's place. As she got there, and then the families now came back again and started begging, "Please, he has changed. He's a great guy. He's a this guy. He's a fantastic person. Go back." And she went back. 2 weeks after, he beat her to death.
Wow.
Her ribs broken, and she was dead 2 weeks after. We intervened now. Is that not an intervention?
There's,
yeah, but
there's something about the way of man with a woman. It's a mystery. You don't understand it.
I don't think you can ever understand.
You can never understand it. So you can only intervene to the degree that they have allowed you in, or else. I have seen cases, right, where a girl is being raped, then you say, "Let's prosecute the rapist." Then the family calls you aside and say, "Can you help us negotiate 100K?" Right? And you say, "No, you can't do this. Oh, we need to prosecute the rapist." Behind your back, the family has collected the money. Then you get to court and they call the case, and the whole family plus the victim say nothing happened.
What?
Say you are the one that talked them into it. I have seen cases, my dear. So what I say to people is,
It ain't broke.
mind your business.
mind your business. Mind your business.
And the Oyibo people will say S the F up. Yeah.
You know, because I mean, that's why when people come and when you know they're ready to get help, then they'll be talking about, "Oh, how much is your fee? How much?" Then you know people are ready to get
But
help.
even at that, even if they say how much you get, because I've sent things to people to help them, and they've come back to say it's too expensive.
They will even tell you that they don't need it.
But they'll buy wig. They'll buy one
So
wig.
you cannot whip more than the bereaved.
You can't chop Panadol for somebody
yeah.
that's headache,
So,
headache.
Because even it's a risk,
It is.
big risk, my dear. So it's if it's not broken, don't try to fix it.
Absolutely.
Because the person might tell you that's how we love ourselves. That's how we
That's how we show love.
So at the end of the day, but for people who are really in crisis, help is available. And when you feel that your mental wellness is being affected, then you need to cry out for help. If you are listening to us, your husband is beating you, your wife is beating you.
Yes.
Why? You see now.
This one
Yeah.
of them. This one
No,
of them.
I totally. I'm not. I'm
Why
with
did you laugh?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Carry on.
If your wife is beating you, if you have been economically abused, wherein you have been deprived of what is due to you, or you're being physically abused, or you've been mentally abused, or spiritually abused, because that also happens, you can always reach out and get help. And you need to know, which is what I tell people, that you see, you need to go back to the time before you met the abuser. You had a life. Well, because we tend to forget. There's a tendency for you to, for example, if you go to the spiritual or religious faith, there's a tendency for you to join a religious sect or a church or a mosque and totally forgot that you had a life before you walked with your leg in there. That it now looks like that's the totality and the definition of your life. It's almost like you are in an hypnotic state, a trance. And you can be in that trance for 20 years of your life. Some people never even get to wake up. So you need to understand that you are alive, and that's why in therapy we take you back to who you were at age 5, who you were at age 10, what were your aspirations for your life, are you where you want to be, then what is the possibility when you leave this place, what are the things that will happen, what are the things that will not happen, because people need to understand that then providing support is key, because you can't leave them hanging.
As you say this now, a friend of mine spoke with me I think it was earlier today actually. Hi, Ifedayo. A friend of mine spoke to me earlier today, was like, this matter of abuse, how do you, so a situation where a girl is staying with, she has this, should I say, backup? Let me put it that way. So I mean,
what's
for
backup?
Financial
Barcelona.
he's
It's
the
called
lover.
a God-fearing sugar daddy.
He's a lover.
No, the big God.
Hi, Tony.
Small girl, big God. The big God behind the small girl.
Something like that, but So I mean, there are instances where she obviously she can't maybe demand for certain things. Maybe I want to spend time with you, or when the guy wants to have sex, it's how the guy wants it and when he wants it, and it's not about her. It's not about her pleasure in any way at all. So I mean, she's deprived that sexual satisfaction. At the same time, she can't demand, at the same time she's not going out because she can't, because this guy has bought her a car, he's bought her a house, he's paying her bills,
So he owns her.
so he
That's a
owns her
transaction
basically.
going on.
Yes, it's a transaction, and it's like, so I mean, like, so I said to him, I said, but is it that the girl can't work or something? I don't know. Is there any other? Can she go out and get a job? Why who has tied her into the house or tied her down? So he's like, oh, well, maybe she's lost the will. I was like, no, she's freaking lazy.
You don't think? No, that's not it.
No, I know, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I mean, at that point, I'm like, okay, so I'm going back to the statement that you made, which was you forgot that you had a life before.
Yeah.
Some people came from like shit slums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in those kind of situations where it's like
I can't go
I
back.
can't go back to where I'm coming from because I know where I'm coming
The fair,
from.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I can't go back, it seems like I
This
can't
is
go
forward.
forward. This is forward.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, so what do I do? What kind of forward do I go to from here? Knowing that this is the situation that I'm in, depending on you, even if they may not even know where the money is coming from, but your family's depending on you. You've got younger ones maybe that you're having to put through school or whatnot. You're trying to keep your mom, maybe your father might be late or something.
I can even give you a
So,
true
like,
life story. Yeah.
It's a real life.
In-
This
in
is like
my- in
real
my-
life situation.
in my
Where
days-
do you go from there?
In my days in the Brooks, when I used to rehabilitate prostitutes, I actually ran a fellowship for them. I had a girl, Gloria. Every time we try to help her, until one day she said to me, she said, "So guess how much I save every month?" I said, "How much?" She said, 90K.
Even you at that time, you saving 90K.
I didn't. What was my salary? 15K. 15K was my salary. This was 2001.
What?
Yeah, 90K was what she saved every month. So she would send money home. So literally she was making like 30,000 naira profit from prostitution. This was a girl who didn't have any education. So she started
Wow.
asking me, if you take me out of here, what kind of job are you going to give me? So I didn't have a job. I wasn't making like
If she even gave you a 10,
so it becomes very tough, and
Yeah.
and these are valid and realities, because when you're on the other side, it's so easy to say, you are lazy.
Yes.
A prostitute is not lazy.
Yeah.
Those girls are not.
11,
It's a
10,
lot.
12,
It's
11 guys every day. That's not laziness, right? And the girl in question is not laziness. There's what we call learned helplessness, and we must not forget that. Learned helplessness even is a situation where you hate what is being done to you, but you can't stop it. So when you it was Fashola that says, "May your loyalty not be tested," right? That if you find yourself in certain situations, you don't know what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming from some of these girls, if you profile their lives, some of them were raped as early as age 3, as early as age 4,
Yeah.
right? So they don't even exist. You are assuming that they exist because they have 2 eyes. They are,
Anybody.
it's like when you see a guy who is driving an SUV, you assume he's a responsible person, right? But not everyone who drives an SUV is a man. Some guys are animals, kind of, but we don't judge without understanding the journey, because the real story is the journey. So some of those girls you find, and it happens a lot in Nigeria, where you have reserved a special girl for yourself. She has the price. She's told you the price. Even her mother is in the know. Her mother is saying, "Oh, Shebi, it's for you to stay in the house." Her mother will even move the younger brother to come and be staying with. Say, don't they have a job of a cook for that your younger brother can be doing to be cooking? So when you live in extreme poverty, and let's not forget, Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. You see all sorts. If you go to Niger, go to Benin, what we're even seeing in Nigeria is small fry. Go to Ivory Coast, go to Niger, go to Benin Republic. You will see people literally do these things for 1,000 naira, for 10,000 naira a month. To say, don't even live any other life. Stay in somewhere. So that kind of a person, if you're gonna, the strategy for helping that person is a lot more, because the problem is not, first of all, it's not economical. That's what people assume. It's first of all a sense of identity.
Absolutely.
To say, who are you and what are you capable of becoming? Very key.
Start from there.
Because if someone does not have a picture of the future, you can't even be tired of what you're doing right now, right? So you need to find a way to move. And I tell people, like Gloria, it took me 2.5 years. As a matter of fact, that it was from her I learned not to give up on anyone, because she will leave and go back, leave and go back. So one day I said, Gloria, I'm not going to come and look for you again, because I just exactly the words you use. You are very lazy, and I think you're enjoying what you're doing. Then she just broke down and started crying. So praise, I'm not enjoying this, but I have to do this. I have nothing else. Then all the people I spoke to, can you help me get a job? They were talking about cleaning job,
Because
trying
she doesn't have any
20K and all those kind. So
experience.
I left that brothel. I didn't go there for like 3 months. Then one day I was just passing myself. Oh, let me check. Then I looked for her. They said she had left. That she has not been there in 2 months.
Wow.
So I started looking everywhere for her. Apparently she's going to rent a house.
Wow.
So I went to look for her. She now told me that she actually talked about it, and then she now gave me a story of how her uncle had started raping her, raped her from age 5. Raped her for 10 straight years. She actually ran out of his house, into the streets, then met a madam who, and know that some of them also have the madam that they are settling,
Yes.
that they have taken a oath,
Yes.
they have done incision and what have you, and they have to pay back or else is their life. So the dynamics are, so someone who has already taken a blood covenant to say you must pay so amount back.
Tony says people get comfortable with comfort, which is true. People get comfortable with comfort.
Yes, you start to forget your days of suffering when you start to.
No, you definitely don't. You
enjoy.
want to disassociate from it completely, and so it's like, if it's just this small suffer where I have to suffer with, that I will not have to go back to where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I will manage.
And it doesn't look like suffering to some.
To some.
I
it's
sat
true.
beside a politician at an event one day
Aki,
who was a
Aaron,
commissioner in Lagos, and I sat beside her. So we were talking, and I said to her, "Why don't you guys love to leave power?" She said, "Chris, if we leave power, these people will stone us. So we have to hold tight
And not let go.
and not let go."
Mm.
Then I thought about it. I said, "Really? If you didn't have power, I will slap you. Because you are messing up."
You
Wait, moment.
What we
Yeah.
say, we have to
Do
do
you understand? So it's the same situation that if you are not in people's shoes, you cannot fully understand, what they're going through, and what I always say is empathy first. We need to pretend as if we understand, because if you don't do that, you can't get into rapport. And when you can't get a rapport, you can't influence anyone.
You miss the
So
person.
if you go with the arrogance of judgment and blah, it doesn't work. But when you get in a rapport with them, you win their confidence. So those days in the brothel, what I'll do, I'll take my breakfast and lunch to them. I'll sit with them. I'll pretend as if I understood what they were going through. In fact, they'll used to call me pastor. They'll say, "Pastor, make we pray now." So we'll start a fellowship. We'll pray. During their prayer point, I will say, "What are your prayer points today?" They'll tell me, "Pastor, I want make God yesterday. I know do up to 11 men. Make God send me 12 men today. Make a balance for yesterday." And we'll hold hands and we'll pray. I'll pray. That's rapport. And we'll pray. And the following day they will say, "Pastor, God answer prayer. Now 15 men come." And we'll laugh and laugh. But guess what? After a while, every time I began to talk to them about, reconciling them back with their family, they were very open, and they started listening to me because I now began to talk to them about their identity. So we all need to understand that anything could have gone wrong with your identity, but where you are today, the state of that abuse is not the final destination for you.
So we said the first thing is
Awareness.
What next? So let's now say I'm aware.
Yes.
I'm aware.
That I now need I have a problem
Yeah.
and I need help. What do I do?
You need to get a professional to work with you. That's stage 2.
Okay.
or at least get someone you can confide in.
Okay.
You need that. Not just anybody, a skilled person that you can actually, someone who can provide help. If the person doesn't provide help, at least can recommend someone that can help you, because you need that.
So now, okay, so you then know that you need help.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I, as the person who needs help, what do I need? What's the one thing I need to have? What is the one attitude or this one thing, resolution that I need to have to be able to get that help? Is it the commitment? I think
It is.
committed to the recovery.
There are two levels: interest and commitment. A lot of people are interested and not committed, and without commitment, you can't do anything. So usually, I would ask people: are you interested or you are committed? Because when you are committed, you are willing to do anything. That's why Anthony Robbins will say to us that never work with anyone who has not attained the level of threshold, because they waste your time. When you get to that threshold, is a level where you say, I can no longer go further than here.
Yeah.
Right? Those people, they are more committed to their sessions. They show up at the right time. They do everything you ask them to do, because they know that this is not the life they want.
Yeah.
So
and I can connect to that completely, because I got to that point as well, and I said to myself, no, I'm done. Like this. I mean, it seemed like nothing was working, so it wasn't even abuse, but I'd gotten to a point where I said to myself, this is not the kind of life I want to live. Nothing seems to be working, and I would die first than allow myself continue like this.
Yeah.
And I just said, God, I'm in your hands now. So lead me to all the people I need to go to. And God just kind of opened the doors.
Yeah.
And I mean, now I'm in a space where I say I'm committed to myself 150%, and I will be a learner till I die. I'm a student forever.
And we never tell people what to do, because one of the things we were taught is that your client must never be able to quote you as a therapist or as a counselor or as a coach. They must never be able to quote you that it was Deola that told me to leave.
Right.
They must never be able to quote you. So
you get to this
consistently,
to a
you need to
position.
ask them, what do you want?
Right.
What will make you feel mentally stable? So some people tell you, I need to leave this environment. Is that what you really want? Okay,
Or
so
you think you want.
is that what you think we want, or that's what you want? Say, if I don't leave this, so what are the steps you think you need to take? You must guide them using questions. It must be their decision, right? Because a lot of people, out of empathy, you tell them,
Leave
the marriage now goes bad, and they'll be mentioning your name forever. That it was Deola that told me to leave my husband, so she's not enjoying. People are very funny. So you need to ensure that nobody gets, you don't get quoted, so very important. But you need to consistently ask, what exactly do you want? Because only you know what you want, right? So when people say, oh, this is what I want, I will design an intervention for you based on your desire and your request. That I won't go beyond that, because you can be sued. And that's why you need to be very, very careful, So you need to find out someone who can work with you, who can help you. But if it's a case of domestic violence, right, there are legal pathways. So for example, you can file for what's it called now?
Restraining
order. That keeps him a distance away from you.
Those things really work in Nigeria.
Oh, it does.
Really?
It does. Yes.
And do the people actually abide?
Yes. Lagos has an interesting thing. Lagos has got a fantastic structure, in place. So if you go to Citizens' Rights, or if you go to Office of the Public Defender, they will file on your behalf. They have lawyers who will file on your behalf. There's family court in Lagos State. Right? They will file on your behalf.
Things move
If the guy comes close to you, or the lady comes close to you, they will pick them up. They'll put them in prison. Yeah, that works in Lagos State. Lagos is working on that. The lady on top of it, Lola Vivor, fantastic lady, very strong, passionate. Lola will send you to jail, JJ. Very, very passionate lady. So you can separate. Separation is not the word. So when I used to talk about when the movie War Room came out, people began to say, go to the War Room. No, prayer knows no distance. Go to the War Room from afar and be praying for him from afar. And so what I did then was to create, for those who were victim of domestic violence, I created a flow chart to say when he beats you, right, separate. Then when you separate, it's not even going to come with elders or with religious leaders. Don't listen, right? Because you need to insist on what has to be done. And part of what has to be done is before you even come together, right? You need to ensure that it goes through a proper, because he has anger problem, he needs to go through proper therapy, and the therapist needs to sign
That he's fine.
that is okay.
Yeah, but can you not pretend that he's okay?
Well, the therapist needs to sign. Then when the therapist signs and you even want to come back together, because after the therapist is done, both of you now need to go through marital counseling afresh, right? Then
So it's like starting the marriage.
he needs
all over
to start signing an undertaking that he will no longer beat you. He needs to sign that, so because if the reconciliation becomes very easy, people will repeat a bad
Over and
behavior.
over
Yeah.
again.
So
Yeah.
that will determine whether he really wants you,
Or
and
not.
and so if you eventually, if he says, oh no, he doesn't want you anymore, at least you would have your life. It takes the covenant of life superior to any other covenant. So I think we overrate. Let me not use the word overrate. The quest for people to be together, we make it life and
We
death.
overrate it.
Yeah, we say God hates
Trying to be
God
careful.
hates divorce, but God doesn't like people being killed.
Would God rather you dead? Is the
You get
question.
so you need to do that. And there are agencies all over Lagos. I don't know if you're not in Lagos, if you're I know abroad you can just call 911 and his case is settled. But I don't know
There ain't no
of other
911
states.
here.
And also we need to understand
There's
that
no one to.
the peculiarity of our Nigeria is that some human beings are above the law, as well. So it
Exactly.
becomes very tough, but at least we can work with what we have. But at the end of the day, your life is not the society's life, not social media life. It is your life. Would you rather be dead, or you would rather stay alive and be well? Because what I found out, like I was sharing, I don't know who I was sharing with okay, it was you guys on Tuesday, that there is the cycle, the wheel of abuse. In that wheel, you have the abused, you have the abuser, then you have the production factory of the abuser and the abuser.
Yeah.
Because for you to get to that point where someone beats you
And you're allowing it.
and you're allowing it, something has
Gone
it
wrong.
didn't start with that person. That person is just the next cast that has been recruited to have the role of the abuse. You have a life of abuse, you need to trace it, right? Then the abuser,
Right.
how did he become the abuser? Because abusers were not born,
Yeah.
they were made.
Yes.
What's the pain in his life?
Yeah.
That's the third part of the wheel. Then you have the society.
Yeah.
In the society, you have the reinforcing society that reinforce abuse. To say,
It's
it's
not bad.
It's not,
not bad now.
Mm.
In fact, there are some holy books that people say is there that you can beat your wife, and all those things. So you have that. And when someone is being beaten, the reinforcing society will say, but no, what did he do? That it's just one slap. Okay, he has.
But you to stop looking for his
stop
trouble.
looking for his trouble. What were you doing? Or someone gets raped. What were you wearing? Right? Those are the reinforcing society. Then you have the educating society, right? The educating society, unfortunately, our educational system is not good.
Yeah.
It doesn't produce intelligent and
Yes.
strong
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And our culture,
Yes.
it does not permit for a lady to be strong, for example.
Yes.
It's timidity.
Yes.
So your lecturer is
Yes.
God. You
Yes.
can't question him.
Yes.
Meanwhile, it's a school. You are supposed to be able to question. So when you can't question your lecturer, you are already being abused. You don't know, because it's a school, citadel of learning, right? If you can't question, you can't innovate, right? So when he comes and says, A is for God, B is for very genius, intelligent student, D, and all those things, and nobody questions him. Everybody's afraid, right? So that is an educating society. The preachers on the pulpit is another educating society. So what do they preach? A man is superior to his wife. The first need of a woman, a man is respect. When you respect your husband, you respect him to death. Even if he beats you, you respect him.
Just respect.
Women submit. Just submit to death and all this kind of thing. If you say any woman that is fully submitted will be loved. That's not correct.
Of course not.
But nobody's questioning,
Yeah.
because that system does not permit anybody to question.
Because
And
you can't talk
The
against
person
God's
speaking is on a pedestal where you are looking up to him, right? So that is God in action. So that's the educating society. Now you have the prosecuting society.
Oh.
In the prosecuting society, that's where you now have maybe the activists. That's where you have the NGOs. That's where you have the police. When you go to the police to say your husband rapes you or your wife beats you, your wife beats you, they will laugh and say, your wife beats you, your wife beats you. Ah, which kind of man you be? Which kind of man you be? Which kind of man you be? Right? That's the prosecuting society. So you are terribly embarrassed. Now, within the NGO that is supposed to help you, right? Watch now. Watch now. The NGO, in the NGO, there are a few NGOs who are committed to liberating you.
Yes.
Because the business is in the problem.
Absolutely.
Right? So someone has collected money and needs to justify that money. Right? So the person needs to do some activities. Make some noise. They will not pursue the case to a logical conclusion.
Yeah.
You are going to be left alone.
Yeah.
Then there's the media that is supposed to help you bring this thing to the front burner. Sensationalism and clicks.
Yes.
So when they have clicked enough and they have made enough money, you are left on your own.
Yeah.
But there's a gap, which is the last part of the quadrant. That gap is skilled personnel, skilled professionals. Unfortunately, the ratio of doctor to patients in Nigeria, medical doctor, is 4 doctors to 10,000 patients. Now, the ratio of family life therapists or family life professionals to patients in Nigeria,
Are you kidding me?
it's about 1
To 1 billion.
to 100,000. Because there is no single institution higher of learning in Nigeria today that offers any course on family science.
Wow.
So you are left with guidance and counseling. In fact, the only certification course that exists, we created it. We created it. It even exists, right? That's what all therapists in Africa are coming to take that one now. Now, guidance and counseling students, you are now left at their mercy. And psychologists. So let me tell you the story about guidance and counseling. The curriculum for guidance and counseling in many Nigerian institutions is outdated. Even the one for psychologists, I mean, those ones are even trying. It's almost outdated. I have someone who came from University of Pennsylvania to meet our friends just last year, right? So they were talking, and our friends are in the top private university in Nigeria, like the best of the best. So they were talking. She realized that what they were teaching there are, as a psychology student, you know, they were not learning. And what they were teaching her, then she wasn't learning.
Right.
So she took their curriculum back to University of Pennsylvania and showed her professors to say, well, how come you have not taught us? The professor looked at me and said, the last time we taught this model was 1978. That was
So did you say 1998?
78. That was the year I was born. 42 years ago. Right? That who is still using this model? So you can have a graduate of psychology who cannot run any therapy, who does not even understand the tools that need to be used. So who is going to help people? So you see the decadence. So the people are now back to the religious system, which, I mean, admirably, and we must give kudos to a lot of pastors who have helped, you know, and some of pastors are actually getting them certified right now. And the new generation pastors are recognizing that we need to have a professional, you know, counseling team. You know, so these are the issues, right? So at the end of the day, you are looking for help, but you become a specimen in an experimental lab of a native intelligent professional, right? Who is now using you to practicalize, you know. So eventually what you find is advisory. People are thinking that you're just, you speak your own, I speak my own, then, so it becomes a problem. But in the midst of all of this, a new generation is rising and we are raising more people who can actually intervene, you know. But the part that we don't talk about is the place of our culture. Our culture is a culture that says, don't speak up. Our culture is a culture that says, you know, we have adage, you know, whatever happens in your house stays in your house. You know, everyone getting married, you tell them marriage is between you, husband and wife, and God. Don't allow a third party. You know, so these are narrative that reinforce abuse, and, you know, it makes it difficult for people to actually speak up. And then people are in abuse, they don't even know where to go. So they resort to social media. And by the time you make a lot of noise on social media, that's the end of it. So it now comes back to parenting. To say, if you are parenting any child, you must never allow the ferocious curiosity of your child to be tampered with and your child's esteem. Because every misbehavior can be traced back to two things: a non-discovery of self or a non-remembrance of self. If you don't know who you are, you're going to mess up.
And also
If you
love.
forget who you are, that's it's the same thing. You're going to mess up. So if we begin to help people build their esteem, to say to you, so if I say to you, Deola, you don't need me for you to be yourself. I went somewhere and a young man came to meet me. I went to speak in a church and he ran to me and he knelt down. And I said, why are you kneeling down? He said, sir, I need to tap from your anointing. I said, do you even know if I masturbated before coming here? What anointing are you tapping from? He said, the way you spoke. I said, the devil can speak the way I spoke. I said to him, I said, there is nothing special about me.
I don't know these people.
I said, there is nothing special about me that you don't have. Right? I said to him, you only need to believe in yourself. Now imagine if I said, so we need people who are more secure to tell people that, you know what, you don't need me. It's not my grace. I don't have any grace that can work for you, that can make you. Right? There's the grace of God, not my grace. And your grace is in your talent. Work on it, believe in it. So we now need to aggressively begin to make people believe that they can do it. Then the ones who have recovered must now begin to mentor people to say, you know what, this is me. Then we need to celebrate survivors. Once we begin to do that, I think it helps.
I completely agree. You know, I mean, you've said a whole lot, and I completely agree to a lot of things that you've said. You know, from the fact that, you know, a lot of us actually think we know ourselves, but we don't. A lot of us, I mean, I went through a huge process. I mean, you know, there was a time I used to think meditation and hypnosis and all these things were sinful or demonic. And I mean, I don't know how I lived my life without even meditation. And now that, in fact, I'm maybe a yogist, you know, the amount of completeness, you know, that I feel. And I remember saying to my husband a couple of days ago that and you know, the amount of the fact that we think that it's our responsibility to make other people happy. It isn't. It's there. And I said to him, I said, I release you, you know, I release you from that thought. It's not your responsibility to make me happy. It's my responsibility to make me happy. And the only responsibility that you have is to make yourself happy. You don't owe me anything in regards of my happiness. And if I then say that because you don't do certain things, I will not be happy, I will die waiting, especially when you don't even have the capacity for it. You know, and so we find ourselves in that place all the time where we think, oh, without this person, I can't. Without this person, I can. No, you're enough. You can do anything you want to do, but you also have to take action. You also have to stay in constant action. You also have to say to yourself that I want to always be the best version of myself. And that's the reason why they call certain things blind spots, is because you can't see everything. And so for me, I think every individual should have a coach that they go to see at least every 3 months. I feel less. But let me just even try and be so fantastic and say every 3 months, so that they can show you your blind spots. Because you think everything is going so well. And then somebody I also thought, and then I had a blind spot call with a mentor of mine for an hour. And she asked me certain questions and I answered them saying yes. But then when I sat down and I thought about it, I was like, I assumed all those things. I actually didn't ask them. And so I retraced my steps to say, oh my goodness, I thought I was being done by. However, I could have been the one that was doing them by. Because maybe I also passed some information that was wrong, or I also assumed, and I worked based on that action. So sometimes, I think it's us. Maybe I've gone a little bit further, but I think it's important that when we go for help, we should also be open.
Then
we should go and
building deeper relationships.
Yeah,
also very
open our ears and have more deep friendships. Like you said, create your village. Create a village for yourself and your family.
That's
or
very
people
key.
That you trust, that you can say, look, this is what happened.
This guy is beating me.
Yes, he's beating me. I remember a friend of mine who had a guy that used to beat her. Now, she didn't share this with me initially, because when she told me about him in the beginning, I said, I hope these people that you like to follow up on now will not kill you one day. And I left it alone. And so apparently he was beating her too. I mean, not just beating her, he was biting her, leaving bite marks, hitting her. He beat her one day, she couldn't see. And she was afraid to say it. And the day I found out, and she eventually burst into tears and she was crying and she told me, I was like, why didn't you tell me all this? Why? She said, because I knew you didn't like him and you warned me. I'm like, so what? So what? So immediately I swung into action. I called one or two people, pretended I was me they were beating. Let me not tell you the truth. Pretending it was me that was there beating. And those people also swung into action immediately. And then my friend started begging me, please, don't let them carry him. I'm like, what? After you done this to you? Like I became an actress to the people that I called. And she called me and started begging me that please I said they will be looking for him in Lagos, they won't find him. They will lift him from the face of the earth. Why would they? She started showing me all the marks that she had been wearing, all kinds of clothes to cover. And I said, let's swing into action. And she pleaded, no, leave him alone, let him go his own. And and of course he has gone his own, and maybe he has gone to find someone else that he can start with. So again. I mean, hey, like you say,
So that's all of that is bringing us to one. You talked about non-discovery, non-remembrance, and you're saying believe in yourself, which is really key and powerful. And I think you said last week, one of the reasons why people stay in abusive relationships, and whether it's their marriage or religion or whatever, is because they don't believe in themselves. They've lost themselves.
Yes.
They don't know the power that they have.
Right.
So in this road to recovery, when you've come to a self-awareness, or whether it has come to you by intervention of some sort, and you start on this road to recovery, this journey of recovery, is first of all remembering, discovering who you are and the power that you have. And the key question is, what power resides in you as a person?
Okay, we all have everyone has got a power.
I got the power.
You've got it, which is basically what I always say to people is everything about you is power, and you need to find out those power spots. So if I use the acronym HAPPY, what makes you happy? H stands for your heart. There is something your heart tells you you are good at. That even when you see others do it, you can criticize them and say, but I do this better. All right. So I have never seen Messi play football and I feel I do it better. No. But when I see Anthony Robbins, something comes alive in me to say, wow, this is me. Do you understand? So that's H. A stands for your ability. What is that thing that you do honestly? What is that thing that, when you do it, you're literally, it wasn't as if you were taught. You just have a way of knowing it. Is it beauty? Is it dressing up? What is that thing that is natural with you? It's like your talent, right? And it doesn't have to be glamorous or whatever, but there's something you do so well. Now, the first piece, your personality. There's a reason for you being an introvert or you being an extrovert. If you check your personality and you sync it with the first two answers, you will find the alignment in there. The next piece, your passion. What is it that when you do it, you don't remember food, you don't remember time, that when you do, you forget yourself.
Money.
Yeah, you forget yourself. And Y stands for yesterday. What pain? Or what happened in your past that you don't want others to ever repeat, or you don't want them to go through? Now, those are your power spots. That last one, Y, which is yesterday, a lot of people take it as shame, but that is also a major power spot. That was Oprah's power spot. That's Joyce Meyer's power spot. This is what we consider to be shameful. That's what they're selling. So it's a power spot. So if you put it together, HAPPY, you will most likely find where your power lies. But it's one thing to find your power, is another thing for you to believe in your power. Because we have been created, we have been structured, conditioned to doubt our power. So you feel someone else's power is better than yours. No. You need that person also. In fact, the way
jealous of you.
The way I say it is this. The person came out from nowhere. Take for instance, maybe you founded a church. We didn't know you before. You just came out from nowhere and said, God spoke to me and say, we are going to build a global church. And by the power of repetition, we began to believe you. We began to do evangelism and call people together. And in no time, everybody calls people together, and we're already 1,000. It's the same process. If you go to the market square today, let's say Oshodi Market or Mushin, and you stand, you jump up at 7 a.m. and say, I am Shakosha, people will look at you and think something is wrong with you. If you go there the following day and repeat it, I am Shakosha, they will be looking at you. If you do it for 1 month, in fact, by
Before you even say
I am Shakosha, they will say, once they see you, Shakosha is coming, Shakosha. As you jump, people are jumping with you. That's the power of influence. That's how these things work. It's about belief. It's about consistency.
Yes.
It's about doing it. Yeah, you must lose a sense of shame to say, this is what I believe. I mean, and this is what I'm going to do. At whatever level you are, you will find the Shakosha will follow you. It's
because really your message is not even for everybody.
Yeah.
So the ones that will
they'll follow you.
For sure.
They'll follow you. The quest for everyone to like you is the beginning of failure.
Oh yes.
Everyone is not going to like you.
You die waiting.
Everyone is not going to like you.
You die waiting.
the quest for
Everyone to like
everyone
you.
to like
You're
you.
It's
finished.
the beginning of failure. Yeah.
You're finished. The first thing is like yourself.
Yeah.
When you like yourself, because we
And
think we
again-
want,
and-
we
and
think we
again,
want
we-
relationships with other people, but the relationship we want the most is the relationship with ourselves.
Itself. Yeah.
That's what
It
that's
goes
what's
back to
missing.
something you said at the very beginning when we started, which is that we've been brought up to find
Happiness
In other
out
things,
of
other
yeah.
people
Yes.
except for
From
ourselves.
ourselves.
And you know we lay that we lay
It's
that
conditional.
we lay that responsibility. You know, when we said we should take personal responsibility and we should be personally responsible and hold ourselves accountable,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
which is what many people
Don't do.
Yeah.
don't do. Either don't want to do or don't
It's
even.
easy.
They don't know how.
capacity.
They don't know how.
No.
Some
I
people
don't
don't
believe
know
that they
how.
don't. I'm sorry. Let me
Some
just.
people don't
Some
know
don't know.
how.
What was the story? What did Adam do?
Well, you can't.
No, I'm just.
We were not there.
Okay, so they say that Adam said to God, "Is it not the woman that you gave me?"
But it was right.
So yes. But if Adam took responsibility, if he had just said, "God, I am sorry," so because of that, we naturally don't want to take responsibility because it's always easier to say you caused it.
But some people don't know. That's what she's saying.
You think some
What-
people don't know.
some people
that-
are not aware. Let's be very
Okay, I'm
honest.
listening.
People are not aware. We are different levels of growth,
Okay.
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean,
if
that
you
again,
see
I
what
agree.
some of us have taken,
Yeah.
you would ask yourself and look back. I mean, I was in school. I was in fellowship. We had a 9-year-old generator that would not start every time we wanted to set up a fellowship. And
You guys
I
do
believe that
9
there was a demon that was stopping, that was always against our service, and we would lay hands on a 9-year-old generator, not knowing that it was poverty that was disturbing all of us. The day we gathered money to buy a new gen, we never had to pray that
The
prayer.
devil left.
What was I thinking? The same me.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Mm.
So some people are not even aware. They don't know, right? And we need to acknowledge that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there are lots of people who don't even believe they have anything.
Yeah.
So you need to point them to their power, to say there is something in you. That's why when people boss me to say, "Oh, praise," the lady boss me and say, "Praise, I need money, 3K to eat today." I said, "What can you do?" She said, "I train as a caterer." I said, "Why don't you start a food store in front of your house?" She said, "I don't have capital." I said, "How much is it?" She said, 20K. I said, "I'll send you 30K. Go and buy everything." Today, it's been like 4 months. The lady has sustained the business. Do you understand? So some people, they just need someone to show them, to
Not
say,
prayer.
you
Not say it is well with
have
you.
this power. You can, and I'm going to ensure that some people, you literally need to even start it with them
For them.
and push them into a sea that is full of sharks and watch them survive. You understand? So we need to do that for people, because the environment can so drain you and make you feel, you know, I mean, it can drain you, because you look at a guy who didn't go to school, just made it into the Senate, and is commanding, he has a chain of cars, and you are looking at yourself as hardworking as you are, what you are earning, and you are saying this life is
Can
not
you
bad.
just explain what this part is before we go to the next? Can you just, so we said what makes you happy? The question, what makes you happy? We broke down happy into
Art.
into
Yeah.
acronym.
Your heart, what does your heart tells you you are good at?
Okay.
What does it tell you? What is it that when you say it,
What's one thing you do that actually just make
it resonates with you? When you see others do it,
Yeah.
something say, "But I can do this. I can do this."
You know,
I can do
something
this.
that
That's you. That's your
resonates
heart.
with you, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about you know what power resides in you. So your heart, ability, your personality, your passion, and even your yesterday, which is where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
But then there's a level.
Yeah.
There's another level. There's a level to add to identifying what power you have in
Yeah.
you, which comes by discovery and remembrance,
Yes.
right? Or
Yeah.
remembrance through experience.
Yes.
Remembrance and discovery through experience, right? So what's the next level to identifying your power?
No, once you are able to pick from this,
From
you'll be
this.
able to pick one. Then identifying is one thing. Accepting your power is another thing. Developing your power is another level, which I don't even think we can get into today. You know,
Yeah, because you guys, you never allow like praise you, carry on.
but we need to do what we need to do. We don't want to run a show
I
where,
think for me, it's what do people need?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
let's give it to them.
Yeah.
Let's give people what they need now.
Yes.
And this really, I think it's important that we get to a point of complete conclusion.
Yeah.
Not just logical.
yeah. So let's run to something else.
Complete
No,
conclusion. If people also have more questions or want
yeah,
to
let
talk,
them ask the
let us
question.
talk about it.
You know,
Yeah.
because you can't even, the process of growing your power is not what has been taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motivational, they will confuse you. 7 steps, your step may not be in the 7.
Exactly.
So you need
Or they'll
to.
tell you 7 steps and they don't tell you how to actually
So
implement the
maybe
7
what we need to do
steps.
today is like we did last week. What is your power? Get back to earth.
Yes.
Right? Go and apply this
Yes.
and let us know what power you have.
Yes.
Right?
And let's
Because
teach you how to.
yeah, because your power, you need to grow it to a level that it must define who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
Right? So if you mention Lionel Messi today, you can't think of lawn tennis. You would think of football. Right? Yeah, if you mention CNN, you can't think of movies. You would think of news. Right? If you mention super sports, you know what to expect. If you mention Mnet, you know what to expect. Right? If you mention Netflix, you wouldn't have been looking for football matches there. It's the same way when your name is mentioned. What are you known for? There must be something that resonates with you that you can begin to push. And like we said, maybe once you find that power, go and become your shakosha.
Yes.
And because that is the
Osharize
power
yourself.
of repetition.
See,
This
guys,
is me.
I'm sorry. I know that I'm even like a bit radical, but there are certain things that you do for yourself. You know, I'll say to somebody, I say, look, let's say that okay, the only thing that makes me happy,
Go on.
the only thing that makes me happy is you telling me I'm beautiful.
Hmm.
So the days you don't tell me I'm beautiful, what do I do?
Hmm.
Do I then stay unhappy because you haven't
No,
told me
you
you're
tell
beautiful?
yourself you're beautiful.
Can I please stand in front of my mirror and tell myself I'm frigging fly?
Yeah.
And so that if you then give me anything is an addition to what I do, because also you also are a human being. You go through certain things are happening to you. Why should my life then become the beat and end all of your life?
Hmm.
Which then means that on the day that you're not even seeing me, sometimes sometimes you're looking at somebody, but you're not seeing the person.
Mm.
And so somebody comes looking all fly and thinking he's or she is going to say, you look hot. But the person is looking at you, but they're not seeing you.
Mm.
And then you now leave there angry, frustrated, depressed that my man. Then when you go out, I like to use up all the time. Then you go out and people will tell you how beautiful you are. And you're like, really? Are you sure that you are seeing what you're saying? Because the person that I left home just now didn't see it.
Mm.
Meanwhile, the person that you left home that didn't see it, he's thinking about how he's going to pay rent or pay school fees or pay salaries. And you are the only thing that you're thinking about is somebody tell you you're beautiful. Stand in front of your mirror every morning, every night, every time and tell yourself, fuck, put on your phone, look at yourself. Baby, bad. You know?
But you know, some people are not even able to do
I
that.
know, but it's something. I mean,
Yeah,
mine was. That's why I said I'm radical. But I wasn't radical before. I also depended on other people for my happiness, and then I also based some of the things that made me happy on other people's weaknesses.
It's repetition. You have to repeat it over and over again. If possible, get into a group of accountability people and put them in a WhatsApp, maybe 5 of you, 10 of you, and say 7 a.m. we're going to press ourselves in front of the mirror.
Yes,
So how did it go today?
Exactly.
So you are waking yourself up
Take a
because it's
picture.
easier that way when people
I like
recover.
that idea.
Take a picture.
I like
of
that
yourself
idea.
and
Yeah,
put it on
people-
WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's got to be a village. You have, that's where
It's like,
that's the way
and
to
write
do.
it out in front of your mirror every morning. saying
Because
that
our
people are
environment, the downside to the downside to our environment and our society is we've not been socialized to think us.
Because they'll say you're proud.
we've been socialized to think me,
Yeah.
right? So it's you alone, not us. But every developed society, from the Jews
It's
to the
us.
Chinese,
It's us.
it's us they think
It's
about.
us.
So they are already used to doing things together, But for us, it's you come first in class, you don't care what happens to the rest, So that's what we need to flip. So if you're listening to us, you want to know where to start from. Find 5 friends, 10 friends, put them together in a group, and say, guys, we need to take our power back. We are all going to become. I mean, if you read the story of Amechi, Dakuku, and Wike, they met 15, 17 years ago now. They met, and about 4 of them said to themselves, the first person among us to get into power must bring every other person. We must be indispensable to Nigeria, right? And the first person was the local government chairman. The other person became the chief of staff. Then Amici became governor. Wike was chief of staff. Dakuku was federal government asked for a minister from River State. Put Dakuku there, and today the 3 of them are. So it's got to be us.
Yeah.
I think that's so. Please find your power and send it to us. Let us know what your power is. Then we'll teach you how to develop.
Oh, you're happy. What you're happy is.
Yes.
What you're happy. I think that's.
Don't forget his heart, ability, personality, passion, and yesterday. And I'm going to say something about yesterday. We don't know that the things that happened to us, or our yesterdays, or the things that we did yesterday, it's actually strength for us, right? It's strength for us, and I'll say that because what?
Go ahead.
It's strength for us because because at the end of the day, if you say to yourself that I made a mistake, okay, but it's not a mistake. You only did what you did with the ability and the knowledge that you had. Now that you have a different knowledge, do something different.
Yeah.
So with that, and then if you also believe that, or I believe that things don't happen to me, I believe that things happen for me.
For you, yeah.
So at the end of the day, they all happen. If without we like the end goal, but we don't like the process. So the end goal is most of the time when you go through things that are painful, you come out stronger. So you like the fact that you have come out stronger. However, you don't like the process. So in real essence, you should actually bless the pain.
Yeah.
Say thank you for happening, because without you, I would not be here. So then in your taking your power back, it's also accepting that whatever you did yesterday was yesterday, and you did it based on the knowledge you had yesterday. Today you have a different knowledge. Tomorrow you have different knowledge. So you also are not sitting on the past and holding on to or attaching yourself to memories of the past that were either good or bad. Because also good memories also have a way of holding you. And I used to, when I go out with him, he used to buy me flowers. And then now he's not buying you flowers. So you're holding on to that past of buying flowers and all the things. So when you look at it, yesterday,
yesterday's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And all the things that happened yesterday had to happen for me to be here today. And so thank you for even happening, rather than saying, now I'm covered in shame and guilt. If you had better information, you'd have done differently. And so with that, for me, that's one of the things that helped me to get my power back, to be honest. I just looked at it and said, okay, now those things happen. And so now when you talk about my past, I'm like, yeah, it happened.
It's part of my story.
It's part of my life. It's part of who I am.
I'm not gonna be
I don't regret it.
I think it's
I
even
can do things differently now that I have a different knowledge.
the way I say that your past or whatever you consider to be shameful, they are the suspense scenes in the movie of your life.
Yes.
If you relay your movie, it won't be interesting without those moments.
Exactly. If it would have been boring.
But you are the main actor. Happy ending is inevitable. So move in the direction of your happy ending.
And if actor never die,
film never finish.
Thank you. Guys, so your film is still on.
So I think if you take anything away from today, is the road to recovery is definitely a long one.
Yeah.
And it's a continuous one, especially if you're coming off of years of conditioning and abuse, and your years of forming habits, and patterns.
But if you're committed and consistent,
it's not overnight. So you're not looking for a quick fix.
No microwave.
There's no microwave dinner solution here.
No.
But yes, identify what power resides in you, because you do have power.
We all do.
You have heart, you have ability, you have a personality, you have passion. whether you know what that passion is or
Yeah.
not, but you do have passion.
But you just sometimes, most times, the things that drag you or draw you. It could just even be that whenever I plait people's hair, I'm very passionate about just plaiting people's hair. Some people may not think that that's a passion. They may just think, oh, I learned how to plait hair, but it may be something that gives you so much joy, so much joy. It could be something that you don't have a skill in yet, but when you see people, you're like, how I wish I could do this. And pick up the skill, learn it. Then you can learn anything. I learned how to sew from YouTube. In fact, this dress that I wear, this was one of my sample dresses that I made by myself. And sometimes my husband will say, where are you? I'll sew till 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
He'll say, what else? Tomorrow I'm wearing this dress that I made. Tomorrow, let there be mistakes, I'm wearing it. Off YouTube. I didn't have to do it. But I bought a machine and I started. And now I make some of the clothes that I wear myself. It may not be the best, but I'm the only one that knew the style from the beginning. So you cannot question my style. And so, hey, guys, there's a lot of stuff that we can do to stay in our happy spots.
Yeah. And we're going to conclude on the road to recovery next
week. Yeah.
I hope. Because there is, like I said, there are levels. So we've talked about what power resides in you, and then there's 3 other levels on top of that, which, as Praise said earlier, it's not something that we are naturally taught. It's not something that we can brush over. So we want to take our time, like we said, and dish out to you.
But this is the assignment for today.
Yeah. But for
Your
today,
assignment for today.
Our assignment is write out the word happy.
What makes you happy?
And write out the word happy. So HAPPY. On the H is heart, on the A is ability, the first P, personality, the second P, passion, and then Y for yesterday. And so what resonates with you? What's your heart? What's at the core of you? What can you do? What's your ability? Write those down. What's your personality like? How do people describe you? How do you describe yourself? Are you the life of the party? Are you the somber cool person?
Are you the sharpshooter?
Yeah, and then what are you passionate about? What are the things that when they wake you up from sleep and they say let's go and do, you're like, oh yes, let me do it, or you would consider paying for it to do, whether it's going to the theater, whether it's painting, dancing, whatever it is.
And if you're looking for an accountability partner, you can call me.
Yeah, you can call Dilla.
And then yesterday, why for yesterday? What I think look at it from a place of strength, right?
Yeah.
It is a strength.
Absolutely.
What are the things that you have? What are the things that happened yesterday? And not yesterday is figurative here. What are the things that happened yesterday that you have learned from? Because you are a sum total of all your experiences, right? Good or bad or whatever it is, you're a sum total of all your experiences, because you've hopefully learned something from each and every one of them.
And you can teach, you can help someone else.
And you can help somebody else with it, So what are the key things that you have learned from your yesterday, that's contributed to the person that you are today? And
that makes you powerful, because you are
indeed powerful. So that's it, man. See y'all next week, and I promise to put out a post. I promise to let you know.
So you can hold her accountable.
Hold me accountable for that. Send us a DM on our platform, which is at Real Deep Convos. I'm gonna put that here. On Facebook as well. You'll find us at Real Deep Convos. Our email address, realdeepconvos@gmail.com. Convos is CONVZ. And you can, always go to our YouTube to watch this,